Okay, how you guys doing? So, new developments, of course. Things moving fast with politics as they always do. Um, First, so we got news about the Trump cabinet and how that's going to be assembled and who's up for what. There's a lot of chatter going on about that. Then we've got kind of some information on the Ukraine war and what might be going on with that and relations with Russia. And then um, we've got, well, I can't be sure, and but some I suspect some down ballot shenanigans going on. So I want to cover that first. So when let's say over the weekend, and then when early in the day on Tuesday when the polls were open early in the morning. So I was posting about some of the things that were going on, and especially in Arizona. And I proposed that maybe in Arizona they're not going to mess around in order to get Trump, but they're really focused on the down ballot measures and people who are running for the House and Senate and things like that. And now that we know that the House and Senate stuff is taking a while, and it's they're saying, oh, it's going to take a long time to count and all this stuff, blah blah blah. Okay, fine, but they keep repeating in unison, all of them. Kamala, Joe Biden, the press secretary, all of them. The press secretary who looks like a toilet brush. Yeah. They're all saying, we're going to commit to a peaceful transfer of power, and that's what we do. Well, you know what? I thought they're in unison with this, and they're going on MSNBC and CNN, keep saying that over and over again. It's very strange. And I thought to myself, they're keeping us distracted. They're making us think that they're all about that and they're going to cooperate. But really what's going on is something's going on with these House races right now. And a few of the Senate races, the ones that are left. So I think they might be up to something here because there's a lot of discrepancies. Sometimes people don't go, straight down the ballot. Okay, that happens sometimes. Fine. But not in the sense that it is right now, the discrepancy. There's not that many people that are going to go for Trump as president and then at the same time pick some far left senator or far left congressman. It's not, something's up with this, okay? I don't know what, and I don't know to what extent, but keep an eye on that because, listen, they're always working an angle. The left, it's what they do. They are always working an angle. They never just let things be. They never just, peace. They never let peace just happen. They're not going to just, okay, well, we lost this one. We lost this one, so we'll get them next time. They don't do that. Okay? And all these states that somehow can't get, the results out, they can't figure out how their elections work, even though big states like Texas and Florida have no problem. Even New York is done, I think. I think they're pretty much finished. So, how the count goes on and on and on and on, and that's when you manipulate stuff. So, and they want us celebrating, okay? And I'm going to read you one of my recent posts here. If I can find it. So while MAGA is celebrating in the end zone, the Democrats are stealing down ballot elections right now. That's why they are all in unison, overly expressing, talking about peaceful transfer of power. They're trying to make it look like if we challenge it, that they're the good guys. And this is why our side gets tricked so much. They are always ahead of us. Now I'm wanting to. Now I'm seeing people not wanting to blame Biden for anything. Man, people are like, "Oh, well, he was just a puppet and he had no choice." Really? Yes, we know he's a puppet, but he still has a choice. He doesn't have to say certain things that he said. He didn't have to do those things. He didn't have to. There's a lot of things that he did on his own, as far as personally, that had nothing to do with other people. But we're so naive, man. This has got to stop. And all day, Fox News has been furiously running a cheer squad to install every NeoCon piece of crap into our leadership. All the while, we're still drunk off of Tuesday night. Wake up. Make a post. Call your senator. Call your congressman. Call somebody. Whatever you have to do to send a message to the Trump transition team that we don't want these people. Look, Fox today, they have been promoting Mike Pompeo for Secretary of Defense. Thune and Cornyn as leadership in the Senate. So we're going to get rid of McConnell just to replace them with another McConnell? Is that what we're doing here? We're going to give Mike Pompeo power? The guy that tried to have Julian Assange assassinated? The guy that went on Fox News, just to see, about a year ago, I guess it was, backstabbing Trump, talking about how, if the documents case is if that's true about what Trump did, then he's in a lot of trouble, and basically alluding to the fact that Trump might be a traitor. Because Pompeo was toying with being wanting to run for president eventually. This piece of crap has already been the head of the CIA, and he was Trump's Secretary of State. There is absolutely no way that Mike Pompeo can get inside the Trump administration. It just cannot happen. It can't happen. I cannot express this enough. If that happens, then everything we've worked for is irrelevant. He will undermine everything. There is not a single person of all the neocons, all the warmongers, all the establishment guys that could do more damage than Mike Pompeo. He's smart. He's conniving. He's hardcore. He's got no conscience. And he's all about him and the agenda and the uniparty, the system that he lives and breathes. You might as well put Victoria Nuland as Secretary of Defense and Secretary of State if you want Mike Pompeo in there, okay? Now, I hope that the reason his name is being pushed around by Fox News and others is because they're doing their typical, NeoCon crap, that they're trying to push a name out there in order to put some pressure on Trump and maybe make him think. But I don't know. I've heard Trump before mention that Mike Pompeo is a good guy. A good guy? Really? Mike Pompeo. I don't know what Trump's angle was on that, or if he's just being nice, because I've heard him do stuff like that. He compliments people that are really pieces of crap. So who knows? But nothing is more important right now than keeping this guy away from Trump, away from you just cannot do it. Now, there's a little bit of good news. I heard that RFK Jr. has already kind of, talked about Marco Rubio not getting very far because he's a neocon. Well, I know how RFK Jr. feels about Mike Pompeo, and he's way worse. So just remember that Fox News, the kind of decision-making, the editorial decision-making and all, and how the tone of it is ran by Paul Ryan, who is on the board. Paul Ryan is a piece of crap. an absolute piece of garbage. You guys know him. You remember he was running as vice president with Mitt Romney in 2012 when they lost an easy election that could have easily been won. But this man he hates our country. He hates everything about us, the people. And so if you watch Fox News during the day, you're going to feel like you're watching CNN, basically, quite a bit. But they have an agenda. And they're pushing these guys. And they're talking about it like it's no big deal, like it's just standard stuff. This would just be a repeat of the same thing that happened in the first Trump administration. And everything that Elon Musk sacrificed, everything all these people sacrificed and gave up and risked and put their necks out there can be so easily shattered by letting these neocons in. So make your voices heard. Make sure you post. Send posts to Trump personally. Send it to the transition team. Whatever you have to do to let people know. Let them know we don't want them. No neocons. No more. Finished. Okay, let me catch up with you guys and see what you've been saying so far. Bitcoin Motor says the Senate race is close in Arizona. Sherry Allen, what's up? Sherry? That's my sister. Oh, your icon is Fred. Yeah, Fred passed away recently. I love Fred. He's awesome. The raccoon they killed, his name's Fred too. Yeah, Tharn says it is ridiculous how Florida can get their results out near instantly, but states with less people than Miami-Dade are still outstanding. I'll tell you what, I'm proud of the people of Miami-Dade. They went Trump, and that's not easy to do for a Republican. Bitcoin Motorist says Rand Paul should be the Senate Majority Leader. For some reason, I don't know if his name's being floated around or not, but I'm telling you, Bitcoin, these two guys, John Thune and John Cornyn, I mean, we can't have this. We can't. It's literally Mitch McConnell again. Mitch McConnell is the one that purposely tried to lose the Senate in 2020 and 2022 because it would have meant, in order to get the Senate majority for the Republicans, it would have consisted of more America First Trump type senators. So he would have he instead allowed for radical leftist Democrat senators come in. And he was okay with being minority leader so he could keep his personal agenda going. So he literally screwed us over for his own preferences just to intercept America First candidates. That's who we're dealing with here. And if one of these guys are Senate Majority Leader, it's going to be a nightmare trying to get things passed, to get things to get a lot of appointments through and get those approved. I mean, I can't remember which one it was, if it was Thune or Cornyn. Let me see here. Isn't it weird how when you see something recently and then it just disappears on you? It's very, very annoying. Well, it was one of them, but oh wait, I found it. Yeah, it was John Thune. He went on Fox and threatened Trump. He told Trump, stay out of it. You need to stay out of the Senate majority conversation. Okay. This is how arrogant they are. We don't want you anymore. Just stay out. Go away. Just join the Democrats or something. At least, so we can know, everyone's a designated team here. So we can just, get that done. Get that out of the way. Bitcoin Motor says Pompeo will torpedo any peace agreement with Russia or Gaza. Absolutely. Absolutely. This guy's a psychopath. He like I said, he's Victoria Nuland with a penis. Okay? There's no difference. There's no difference. Might as well appoint Liz Cheney. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. It's ugh. Yuck. Sherry says Pompeo has just been thrown out by analysts. Yeah, exactly, right? So they're trying to make it happen. They're trying to will it into existence. At least they're hoping to. The problem is, the one thing I'm worried about, though, is that in the past, Trump sometimes can be flattered and think that, someone can be trusted. And Mike Pompeo is a snake. And he's very, very good at ingratiating himself and making it sound like that he's a good dude, And RFK Jr. had gone on a podcast about a year and a half ago, just talking about his encounter with Mike Pompeo and just how much of a snake he was, and how he was very sneaky, like he's almost like complimentary and he seems like he's on your side, but really he's up to a lot of stuff. This guy, I would not put anyone who was the head of the CIA anywhere near my administration. Okay? That already, just that's enough. Even without all the other stuff that he's done. Yeah, Tapasio, he won't go on Tucker because Tucker calls him out. He's a coward. Israel says, you know what was a white pill? They accepted Thomas Massie into the team, and he's a huge threat to the known establishment. So they don't like him. And they don't like him because he's very independent-minded. And, that scares them in Washington. Okay? Darn says, I'm 90% sure that Trump is probably done playing nice. So am I. I just want to stay alert, and we still got to do our job. We still got to make sure that we're voicing our concerns and saying that we don't want this. Let's just make sure we keep that up. Okay? I think it's going to be fine. I think this, like Sherry said, this is mainly being thrown out by analysts, and they're just trying to make it happen. But I don't see how he's going to, they're like saying, nah, Marco Rubio needs to stay away, but then all of a sudden say, Pompeo, you're welcome. Now, I just don't see how that could happen. So, Gord King says, California still hasn't counted 60% of their vote. Arizona has yet to hit 80%. Nevada was stuck on 91% yesterday and hasn't moved at all today. Pathetic. Israel says, what is this clown show? Tell you what, you know what it is. You know exactly what it is. Remember what they said. It's a peaceful transfer of power. They're very happy just to let Trump have the presidency. Okay, he earned it. We're good. We're the good guys. We believe in democracy and all this stuff. Really. Guys, just a few days ago, Joe Biden called us all Nazis. Kamala Harris called us Nazis. Called Trump Hitler. And now you're inviting them over to the White House? And I would like to know why not one Democrat voter that I can see so far is going, hey, I thought you said they were Nazis. Why are you inviting them over? Why are you saying that there's going to be a peaceful transfer of power? Why are you so okay with all this? So you're okay with having Hitler over for dinner? That's what they should be asking themselves. So they were lied to, obviously. But they won't even hold their feet to the fire. They won't. They're so cult-like. They just stick together no matter what. It's amazing. Rubio has declined. Yeah, that's because he had already been spoken against. He's just trying to save face. Tom Cotton, I don't trust him. I know he's an Arkansas guy, but that doesn't mean anything. You gotta earn my respect. These senators, the position of senator, it's considered so prestigious, but it's such a useless position. These senators are useless. All they do is they get on YouTube and they cut some promo like they're in the WWE in some kind of Senate hearing that means nothing, that people apparently are just allowed to skip and not do anything if you're on the left. And they yell at Fauci, or then they yell at Mark Zuckerberg, or they go on a tantrum here or there. And they post it on YouTube, and we're all like commenting, oh yeah, get him, Lindsey Graham. Look at Lindsey Graham. Look at Tom Cotton, how he got so mean and he got so, whatever, right? And then we fall for it. And then they fundraise off of that one little 5-minute clip where they're bitching and complaining in these hearings. And nothing gets done. Nothing. And nothing ever will get done as long as these types are in there. People got to get smart. It's not enough. It's not enough to vote for Trump. It's not Trump, and then everything is fine. You got to vote these people out when you get the chance. In 2026, you got to vote them out. Okay? The midterms matter. You know what we did? We sat on our asses. We sat at home in 2022 and said, oh, well, Trump's not on the ticket. Who cares? Oh, really? That's how we get stuck with these people. You got to get them out. Celebration's over, guys. Celebration's over. It's time to get to work now. We had that last night. We had that Tuesday night. They're going to try to stop him at every turn. They didn't just take this line down. All right? They're having emergency meetings, all kinds of crap right now in Washington, D.C. Trust me. They're going to use every single thing they can think of to try to disrupt his presidency. Okay. So I think I've given my opinion on that, so you guys got to know how I feel about this so far. We'll see how this goes in the future. Now, we talked about possible election shenanigans. We talked about the neocons trying to infiltrate. Now we need to talk a little bit about the Ukraine war. So there's been reports that Putin is already interested in talking. We kind of expected this to happen. There seems to be a lot of conflicting opinions about how we should address going about stopping the war. The first priority should be a ceasefire. We have to get people to stop dying. These are Eastern European people, but they are Europeans. They are, in my opinion, a war that could have been easily avoided. And it was something that I think I think that we have not been that impressive as far as dealing with Russia since the 90s. And these neocons have ruined any credibility we might have had with them. So in order to get this Ukraine war stopped, we're going to have to give up probably a little bit more than we normally would have. And that's just my prediction. And the reason is because we can't be trusted right now. We can't be trusted. Russia's involvement in the Ukraine war is this. It is the NATO issue, first and foremost. We did not keep our promise. And we tried, the neocons and the establishment tried to make Ukraine part of NATO. They've been trying to do this for a while. And they've been using Ukraine as a money laundering system and, you know, basically doing whatever they can to get all of their, you know, creepy crap through, like their biolabs and all their the money and scheming. You know, all this money that's been sent to Ukraine. I need an accounting of that. I want an audit of everything. Okay? Ukraine's got to show that they are going to actually have a real election and they are actually going to get rid of the corruption. You know, they've got a lot of work to do as far as I'm concerned for me to get on board with anything like that and for me to be happy with it. Russia, of course, is going to have to give up most of the territory that they've gotten, but I don't think that's going to be too much of a problem because this whole thing with Russia was really about leverage. It was about negotiation leverage. And the more land you occupy and the farther in you get, the more leverage you have to get what you want, ultimately, right? If Russia's original intent was to take Ukraine, they could have done that a long time ago. The media and politicians have been lying to people. Okay? Ukraine's going to win this war. Russia's army is not capable of infiltrating Ukraine. They're not, you know, blah blah blah. They need more money. We give Ukraine more money, and they're going to win. No. This is idiotic. Russia could take Ukraine whenever it felt like it, and it's really shocking that people seem to not understand this. I don't know why. I don't like having to give up things, especially when it's in America's best interest. But like I said, it's going to take something. It's going to take a little bit because we have just, our representatives have really screwed us, guys. Okay? As far as the NATO problem, it looks like the opening negotiations involve Ukraine not even discussing NATO for 20 years. I don't think Russia's going to allow that. There's no way that they can, but it's a starting point, okay? It's an opening negotiation point, right? So at least they're talking. But like I said, let's get a ceasefire. Let's get that first. And as soon as that can happen, as soon as we're good, and we can just start talking there. But something has to be done all around. You know, Russia has to know that we mean business when it comes to Europe, and Ukraine has to know that we're dead serious about what happened to that money. What happened? What have you been doing? What about the Russian Orthodox churches that you shut down? What about your jailing and arresting of journalists? Okay. It's just, I don't trust anybody in this at all. Anybody. But it's, if anybody's going to get it done, it's Trump. So. Every single time I try to talk about the Ukraine war, it's the same crap. You're a Putin puppet. Well, I'm going to quote John Adams here. And I'm going to say, I don't have an attachment to any country other than my own. What's best for America is what I want. And if what's best for America happens to give Russia something, a little something that they want that is good for them, that's fine. I'm okay with that. I am not one of these people that is willing to saw off the branch that we're all sitting on just because someone else might get something out of it. Okay? Now, one thing I know, it's diplomacy. And it's diplomacy with other countries, especially Eastern European countries. I went to school in Bulgaria. That's what I was there for, was for, international diplomacy, but also European integration, European diplomacy. I know how these people are, and as far as Eastern Europeans, I know, how they kind of think and what they value and what they don't. And Americans seem to have a very bad understanding of this. And it's really strange. You cannot approach other countries, and I know this sounds obvious, but for some reason it's not. For some reason, people just don't get it. Most people who are talking junk on the internet haven't even left their country. It's one thing to go on vacation somewhere and think that you know something about people, but no, you have to live amongst them. You have to see the everyday and how they feel, how they react to you, just in passing, or in just everyday life, going and buying a coffee from someone and talking to them, listening and hearing them out. That's how you understand people. They're a lot different than us. And NATO has saturated everywhere. It's just, at this point, it's like, why is it so big? Why aren't they paying their fair share? Why aren't other countries paying their fair share? It's very annoying. NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Alliance. This was created to deal with the Soviet Union during the Cold War. The last time I checked, the Soviet Union's been gone for a very long time. Doesn't mean that I'm opposed to NATO, on its face. It's just, again, that's a corrupt, that's been so corrupted, and things need to be looked at there. Guys, America has not fought a righteous war since World War II. That was the last time we fought a war that was just. We had a reason. And of course, I'm aware that other people actually, even to this day, don't feel that way. And I understand that. But for what we knew, and for what, at the time, what was happening, it was a just cause. Because when you look at Vietnam, and when you look at, the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan and all these things, these were ops, these were operations. Nobody was trying to win. Okay? Nobody was trying to win anything. You can't really call them wars. You think we couldn't have won Vietnam? You don't think we could have taken out Vietnam in a month, in a week? I don't know, however long we wanted? Please. It's a joke. Just like Russia. You don't think Russia can take Ukraine? If they want Ukraine, they'll get it. Not going to be too hard for them. If they really wanted Ukraine, they'd get it. Just like we would have taken Vietnam. You think we spent 20 years in Iraq, 20 years in Afghanistan? And the very moment we leave, the Taliban gets it back. Just like that. Boom. What do you think that was? That wasn't a war. It was an operation. The world is a very complex place. It's how our country reacts to foreign countries, regime changes, all these things. Very complex. There's times where intervention is needed on a certain level. You know, I don't think it's right for some warlord in the Congo to just go into random villages and just murder everybody for no reason. Okay? I don't think it's okay for countries in South America to be ran by the cartels. The problem is that every time we think that we're doing something just and right, we find out that one of our own is one of the cockroaches that's under the rock. So we all go down, we get a new president, and we're all just like, we're going to go to South America, we're going to stop the cartels, right? And we're going to go get them, we're going to smash them. And so we hire some rebels to work for us. Guess what we find out? Oh, so all these drugs coming across the border was a program by our own CIA. Like I'm saying, you always find one of ours that's betrayed the American people, and the whole time we didn't know it. And that's the thing. Even when we try to do good, there's always somebody there to screw it up. You don't think that America could have fixed the fentanyl crisis that's coming across the border? You don't think we could fix that in a second? And now the American people don't trust anything. So if something did come along that was a righteous cause and that we really needed to intervene with, nobody's going to believe it. We just had a president not too long ago with Obama that wouldn't even acknowledge the Armenian genocide. He wouldn't acknowledge it. So he wouldn't acknowledge one that actually was, while calling everything else on earth a genocide when it suits his purpose. It just depends on who's in power and who wants something out of it. That's why they're scared of Trump. That's why they're scared of these type of guys that Trump's got around him. Because we're tired of it. We're tired of this. We're tired of these forever wars. We're tired of having to spend our money on this crap when we have our own problems and our own people who are suffering. Imagine if you took all the people that have died from fentanyl that's come across that border, and you put them all in a stadium, like a football stadium. You couldn't fit them all, but I'm just saying, just for the visual. And then some country blew that up. What would we do? We'd be invading that country like a, you know what? China has been sending the ingredients for fentanyl. They have been sending it to South America and to Mexico, assembling it there, making it look like regular medicine and different types of meds, and bringing it across. We don't do a damn thing about it. China was allowed to unleash COVID on the planet. Why didn't we do something about it? I remember saying, how come we're not doing anything about it? You know why we're not doing anything about it? Because we found out that our own Dr. Fauci was involved with it. That's why we didn't do anything about it. Because if we go after China for it, they can out us and say, oh, well, America helped us. So see, every time we think we're making a difference, we look under the rock and we find some traitor from the United States that ties our hands, you know? And it's the same thing with the Russia-Ukraine thing. Let me tell you something. When I was going to university, Ukraine was the number one most focused on country in Europe for corruption. That was the subject. Ukraine was the absolute worst. They even were worse than a lot of African countries and a lot of South American countries where you've got all, corruption just rampant everywhere. Ukraine was holding their own with corruption. Obama goes in, they go in 2014, completely turn the country upside down. And then Putin invades Ukraine, and all of a sudden, Ukraine is some kind of bastion and savior for democracy. Really? You can imagine my reaction. I did several reports on Ukraine about how bad they were. And then just like that, oh, Ukraine, fighting for democracy. Ukraine's victory is our victory. The Ukrainian border must be defended. And people fell for this and they ate it up. Because why? Because if you don't go along with it, you're a Putin apologist. You're a Soviet communist. People don't even know what this stuff means. Okay? Let me tell you something. Russia is a Christian nation. It's not communist anymore. Those days are over. Russia is right across from one of our states, Alaska. We need a relationship with Russia, not making them the enemy. And they have been trying to make Russia the boogeyman forever. And you know why? Because they made so much money off of them during the Cold War. Do you guys realize that for the most part of the Cold War, they weren't even a real threat to us unless they wanted to use nukes? We have been the sole superpower since the end of World War II. But do you know how well that paid off, making them the boogeyman? But you thought it would end, right? You thought it would end. But they keep going back to it. And I remember thinking it was very strange how, it kind of, I remember Obama telling Dmitry Medvedev when he was, substituting for Putin. You remember that brief time before they changed the laws for the president? He told him, Dmitry, if after I get reelected in 2012, I'll be able to do a lot of things for you. Okay. Russian lover. So I guess Obama is a Russian apologist, right? Because he told Dmitry Medvedev that. We heard it on a hot mic. But come 2014, that all flipped. And then he got involved in Ukraine. Our CIA got involved in Ukraine. Because they needed a new place to start doing all their nonsense. Okay? Libya was turning against them. Gaddafi, they ended that. We know what happened with that with Benghazi. They needed to move operations. They found it. Ukraine, why not? Let's go. All of a sudden, we're defending them like they're a beacon of hope. The future of democracy is in Ukraine. Sorry, but when you're trying to tell me that the Russians are the bad guys at all times, okay, and how corrupt Russia is, And yes, Russia has a corruption problem. It's obvious. Everyone knows this. Okay? Don't try to tell me that they're the bad guys when the guys that they're going against in Ukraine are actually even worse with corruption. And make no mistake, America is very corrupt too. And that's really sad because the American people are good people. We are good people. We like to help out. We hear a cause, we hear about people being in trouble, and we give money. We're willing to send money. We're willing to do those things. We have a big heart, okay? But they take advantage of us. And they know they can manipulate us. They know it. So many people in this country, I see, that if they just take a look at what America is supposed to be and what it used to be and what it could be again, they wouldn't hate themselves so much. Do you guys realize that after World War II, we could have annexed just about anybody we wanted to? Do you realize that? There was nobody in condition to stop us. There's been no empire who has had complete and total victory like we had. Guys, we were basically untouched in our homeland. The only thing that we lost was Pearl Harbor temporarily. But that was in Hawaii. It wasn't even a state yet. But as far as within the country, we were untouched. And all the wars took place in other people's nations. England had to rebuild. Russia had to rebuild. China, Japan, Germany, France. Nobody was in any condition to resist us if we wanted to do that. And we could have. There's not a damn thing anybody could do about it. Do you guys have any idea how amazing that is when you look at that on a historical timeline? Do you think the Roman Empire would have done that? You think the Roman Empire would have said, oh, we've got complete and total victory worldwide. We're just going to pull back. In fact, not only are we going to pull back, we're going to pay to help you rebuild it. Come on. The American people, we want to be good people. We want to help the world. But we're also tired of having to send our soldiers somewhere to do it so some politician's bank account can get fatter. A lot's happened since World War II ended. And perhaps we were on the right track, and then they killed Kennedy, and that kind of ripped this soul out of us for a long time. And I think Trump's bringing that soul back. I think he's re-injecting it back. That's what I believe. You know, one thing that JFK was good at is he was good at understanding the Soviets and the Russian people. He would put himself in their position. He would put himself, think, how do they feel? What is their perspective? And when you do that, you can kind of understand better how to negotiate with them. And that is how he was able to have back channels with Premier Khrushchev. And that is how they resolved the Cuban Missile Crisis. Could you picture any of these neocon psychos, any of these presidents we've had, except for Trump, any of these presidents we've had since then, having to negotiate the Cuban Missile Crisis with Khrushchev. Could you imagine? Thank God for Reagan, right? At least he handled it, you know, made sure that we came out of it with dignity. The best we could, anyway. I don't hate Russia. You're not going to make me hate Russia. Okay? I don't hate Russians. I don't even hate Ukrainian people. I'm not happy with their military. I know for a fact that a lot of their military have Nazis in them. They are. They actually are. That's not a lie. Or I'd just say neo-Nazis. And their leadership is corrupt to the core. But just remember this. The people is not necessarily their government, and their government is not necessarily their people. And that goes for anywhere. That goes for China, and you know, it no matter where it is. Vladimir Putin has declared that the New World Order is over because of Trump's victory. Let's hope that's the case. Let's hope. I think it is. I think it's going to be fine. Well, you guys let me go on a rant there for a little while. Thank you. Let me see what you are talking about. See, the difference between me and a lot of people who talk politics like this, you know, in a broadcast setting, is that they're worried about what people think about them. You know, you get like guys like Ben Shapiro, who he's worried what people think. He has his convictions, but only to a certain point. Like when he's caught on a hot mic talking about, well, we need to delete what I just said because the advertisers or whatever, you know. People like that. I don't care what you call me. I call it straight, okay? I'm an umpire who's calling the balls and strikes, and I understand what's valid, what's not valid, what's true, or what's right, okay? And that's how I call it. I don't care. You can call me people, you know, oh, you're a racist, or you're a misogynist, or you're this or that. Yo, you're a Putin apologist. Oh, you're a Nazi. Oh, you're a Jew lover. You're a Zionist. Every subject matter has its positives and negatives, and you have to judge them. And that's it. And whatever people are going to say, they're going to say. Who cares? I don't care. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't work. It doesn't work on me. It just doesn't. Say what you want. Because the world is complex, people are complex. This world would be a much better place if everyone just understood nuances. Okay? And please get some moderation. Ben Franklin said, I'm an extreme moderate. I believe that any man who isn't in favor of moderation should be castrated. So find some moderation and find a backbone. Okay? Because dignity is a wonderful thing. And let me tell you something. As a man, you will feel better. You'll respect yourself. Because there is no worse feeling as being accused of something that you know you're not, and then you start trying to convince that person about it. Okay? I saw a guy the other day just lose all of his dignity. This dude was on CNN on a panel. And the guy across from him, this total weasel, can't remember his name, it was like Ahmed Hassan or some crap, I don't know, whatever. Kassan or I don't know whatever his name is. But he's sitting there calling all of us Nazis. And so this dude goes, well, I hope your pager doesn't go off or your alarm clock doesn't go off, or something like that, right? Implying, talking about how they blew up the pagers for Hezbollah. Okay, that's the way he feels, and that's what he said, right? Own it. You said it. You meant it. Own it. What did he do? Immediately, he looked to the woman. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Please. Oh, forgive me. Well, he got fired anyway. And guess what, buddy? You're not accepted anywhere. Nobody wants you. So they fired you. Nobody on the right side, depending on how you feel about those things, wants you because you just spent the end of it apologizing like a little weasel. You should have just owned it, man. That's what you meant. Own it. You do stuff like that, your wife is never going to look at you the same. Okay? You think when Jimmy Kimmel goes home after crying and whining, do you think after that performance he had at the Academy Awards where this black dude was telling him, to repeat after him like he was a dog saying, Black Lives Matter, blah, blah, blah. Okay? What a disgusting display that was. When he gets home, his wife probably just has no respect for him. Makes me think of that Black Mirror episode where that politician, he has sex with a pig. Because, they forced him. He was worried about public opinion because the princess was kidnapped. I'm sorry. I don't care. If they murdered the princess, I'm not having sex with a pig. Okay? But the prime minister did it because he was worried about what people thought. And after he did it, his wife couldn't look at him. As soon as they were out of the spotlight and in private, she was disgusted. You know what? Jimmy Kimmel, guys like that, that's got to be. Unless their wife is like a psycho, they just can't respect them. And I don't see how you would. But as a guy, who cares what people call you? You know what you are. You know who you are. If you have your dignity, you have your integrity, that's everything as far as I'm concerned. So you're not a man if you don't have those things. You're just not. If you don't have those, then what are you? Hey, what's up, Dad? Thomas Allen in the house. Sarn says, Japan attacks Pearl Harbor for fear of U.S. involvement. Gets the U.S. involved. Yeah, we didn't want anything to do with that war. We were tired of European squabbles. We had seen what World War I. What a devastating war World War I was. It was over nothing. Ultimately, it was all pointless. We didn't want it. Bitcoin's calling my dad brain. That's funny. I like that. Sherry Allen says, seriously, who was in the decision making for Japan? What did they think the response would be? Well, if you're talking about, if you want to talk about the World War II situation as far as Japan goes and why they did, there are a lot of different theories on what the purpose of it was. Because it did seem so just absolutely stupid to do, right? And I think that'll make a good episode, in itself. We can cover that in the future, but it's very good. It's very interesting. It's one of my favorite subjects. World War II. I love World War II as far as history and talking about it and stuff. So. Darn says, I get called racist all the time despite the fact that 95% of the women I've dated weren't white. I get a chuckle out of it. Yeah, guys, just don't ever apologize incessantly, okay? If you're apologizing because you did something wrong, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But don't apologize for who you are. You know what you are. You know who you are. Don't do that. That's the worst thing you can do. You've seen these celebrities and these famous people. They apologize. And it's the worst thing. You know why? Because they're not going to be accepted on either side. So they've got nowhere. They've got nobody now. It's just don't do it. John Thomas Chavez says, say it, mean it, own it. The new self-help book by Aaron Von Allen. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, guys. Thank you for listening. This has been fun. Really appreciate you being here. We got 25 people here. If there's anything you want me to cover before I sign off, just type it in the comment section. If there's anything at all, like, real quick, we can go over if I'm forgetting something. If not, then we can go ahead and get off here for tonight. And we'll be back up here tomorrow night, of course. So we're going to be doing a lot of these, especially right now, because a lot of movements going on with the Trump election. So actually, just bear with me. I'm gonna look on Twitter X here real quick. Make sure, because every time I log off, then I'm like, oh, I should have said something, and I should have, so. Oh yeah, I pissed off a few. I don't know if you want to call them Jews or what, but whatever. It's that's a funny thing too. You got religious Jews that follow the Torah and stuff like that. Then you got there's different types, right? And then you got Jews in name only, right? A gyno, if you want to call them that. They benefit off of the network of being a Jew and all that junk. So that we all know who they are. And they always vote very far left. It's like, okay, what are you up to here? What exactly is going on here? So I've managed to piss off a lot of people. Do you know in one day I've been called a Nazi and a Zionist at the same time? That's impressive. Okay? You got to be really good at pissing people off. Because see, that's the short-sightedness of people. Everybody is at all or nothing. There's no nuance with people. They just all or nothing. You're not allowed to call out, people when they're doing something wrong. And then because you're accused of being all of the opposite. It's crazy. It really is. Okay. Just in, U.S. President-elect Donald Trump says he has no interest in a regime change in Iran. He says the future of Iran will be decided by the Iranian people. Man, the future looks bright, guys. Okay, I think I'm good for tonight. So. Yeah, Sherry, I'm gonna let the cases with Trump. I'm gonna let that develop a little more, and then we could talk about it tomorrow night, possibly. So we have a comment on Rumble. It's from Dom888. Says the one that sits on his throne in heaven, coming soon. Repent, ask Christ into your heart, be born again, and receive the free gift of the Holy Spirit, which is from heaven. King James Version, Romans 6:23. Okay. Let's, on that note, thank you guys so much. And, well, I guess we'll see you tomorrow night. All right. Have a good night.